All my sessions will be recorded, so you can go back over them should you need to. The link is on the board at the back of the classroom there. It's on my own YouTube channel. It won't be on the Banter VR channel. But yeah, today I unfortunately haven't been home from work all that long. So we are going to be winging it a little bit. But what I thought we would do, because I'm constantly getting new people in who probably need a reminder how to even get started. I don't know. I should probably ask, shouldn't I? Are there any people who need me to go from the very beginning in Unity, just how to get set up so that you're ready to bring your worlds into Banter? So you've got Unity with all the right plugins and things, or is everybody comfortable? They know what they're doing, and we can just get started with my ideas that I had for today. Anybody?
Everyone speaks up.
Yeah,
well,
no.
I didn't do world building for quite a long time, and I was surprised. I saw your name. I didn't know it was an event. Sorry, but
It's all right.
I'll do with the rest because by the time I'm get ready for it, I will start building again. But
Yeah.
go ahead and do your thing.
Okay. Well, okay, first thing I would like to do is just direct everybody over to the Amplify. Where have I got it? I've got it here somewhere. There we go. Over to the Amplify, the Asset Store, sorry, the Asset Store, because right now, both Amplify and Bakery have 50% off. Amplify Shader Editor, currently 36.79. Bakery also has 50% off, so it's worth grabbing now while you can, if you can. Bakery, there we go, 50% off, currently 25.30. They've also got this thing with 50% off, which is awesome and worth giving a try. Bakery real-time preview, so you can actually see what your bakery lighting is going to be like before you actually bake it. It's basically a ray tracer, so it's a bit like, kind of like using cycles in render preview in Blender. You can kind of see how your lighting is going to look before you do anything. Worth having a go. We'll probably install this and give it a try as well, just to show you. So first thing I've done, in case anybody doesn't know, you basically, you need this version of Unity, unless it's changed and I'm unaware of it, which is 2022.3.39F1. If I'm wrong, please shout up, everybody, and make sure that you have both the Android and Windows modules installed. You can literally just tick the bits that you want, and I've just got Android and Windows build, nothing else ticked. Once you've got that, you need to create a new project, give it a name. I always disconnect from the Unity cloud because I tend to back my projects up in GitHub, and this just takes up unnecessary bandwidth. So untick that. And I've just created a space which I've just called modular space because that was my idea for today. I haven't installed anything else yet. So the first thing that I would do normally is install the, if I can remember where I've put it, on the GitHub page for SideQuest. I just copy the link from here, because if I save the link somewhere, you can guarantee I'm going to lose it. I know I've got it on the GitHub page. So copy that, and we'll install the SDK. So Window, Package Manager, install package from Git URL, paste that in there with Control and V, and just hit add and let it do its stuff. And I do believe that should install everything you need except Cine Machine. I'm presuming we still need Cine Machine at the moment, so we'll install that as well. Not 100% certain about that, but hey ho, we'll install it regardless. And of course, it takes a minute to do. So we'll have a little chat while I'm waiting for that, doing its stuff. If anybody has any questions, feel free to pipe up as I'm going along.
Are you
Could
recording?
always say which are the most add-ons you use.
I am recording, yes. The most add-ons for Unity is Amplify and Bakery. Basically, that's all I use. And obviously, the Banter SDK. Was it last
The
week?
standard shader doesn't work, right?
It's buggy. Yeah, it doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
It is buggy, definitely. It's not recommended to use it. I believe Autodesk Interactive can be really weird as well, because that's really just a variation of it. It's useful. It's worth giving it a try if you're having difficulty with something. But honestly, you're better off. I would always recommend make your own shaders. It's so much better. I'm not sure if Shader Graph is working yet in on the Quest. So I think, was it last week? I'm sure it was last week I covered Shader Forge, which is an old plugin for Unity. It's when I say old, it no longer has any support. There'll be no updates or anything like that. But because it works very much like Amplify and it's free, it's a very good alternative. So worth having a play with that as well. Shader Forge you can get from, have I still got the page open? I don't know if I have. Yes, I have. Here we go. Shader Forge, it's by somebody called Freya Homer. And it's just on GitHub. If you just do a search for it, it's very easy to find. That's all I did. And you just download it. Actually, how did I don't think I installed it from Git. I think I downloaded the zip file. That was right. You download the zip file, unzip it, and inside that is a folder called Shader Forge, and you just drag it into your assets folder here, and it installs itself, and you're ready to go. But what do I still need to do? I still need to look up in the Unity registry, Cine Machine, and we'll install that.
Sorry.
No problem. You just crunch away on your food. It doesn't bother me.
What does Cine Machine do?
I believe you need it for the cameras.
Lisa, I had a weird question about bakery.
Sorry,
Sure.
what?
Is it possible to export light maps out of Unity once generated in Bakery? Is it possible to export light maps out of Bakery?
Well, you
sorry,
can.
out of Unity once generated.
You
For
can
use in like Blender, for example.
Not really. I mean, you can copy the images, no problem. They're easy to find once it's been baked. You can copy them, but they're not going to fit. They're not going to fit your assets, shall I say? If you want lighting in Blender, you're better off baking them in Blender, actually into your textures. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to use it with Bakery, because even if you were to bake the light maps and then try to apply them afterwards to your assets without having Bakery installed, it won't work. It requires the Bakery script for it to be applied correctly to the assets. So yeah, I wouldn't know how to do that. I don't
Okay,
even.
thank you.
Yeah, I don't think it's really going to be possible. Easy to get the images, but actually getting them to work, no, that's going to be, yeah, a challenge at the very least. Not sure how you would do that. I know in Altspace, there was a guy, I'm sure some of you know him if you were in Altspace. You'll remember Andy Wood, who helped Shushu with his art installations that they won awards for in Altspace. And he tried exactly the same thing because Altspace didn't support bakery. You couldn't use it in there. And he really tried to bake with bakery and get them to fit his assets, and he realised that you simply couldn't. It required the bakery scripts for them to be applied correctly. So anyway, we're now going to go to the My Assets bit, and I'm going to install Amplify. Anybody who doesn't know, Amplify is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a shader editor, so you can make your own shaders. And I'm going to, just for speed and to save a little bit of hard drive space, just untick examples because we don't need them. It's got a load of URP and HDRP stuff, which we're not going to use. We use the built-in render pipeline. So I'm not going to install a load of stuff we don't want, that we can't use. And once that's done, we're going to import bakery, and I'll also import the bakery preview as well, package, so you can see that in action. So bakery light mapper, import. And we'll do the same thing again and just untick the examples. And we'll import the real-time preview.
What's that? I never saw that one.
No, this is, if you go to the Unity Asset Store, I was just saying at the beginning of the session, both Amplify and Bakery have 50% off. If you don't have them, now's a good time to grab them. The Bakery Preview also has 50% off, and this will allow you, it's a ray tracer, which allows you to see in real time how your bakery lighting is going to appear before you actually bake it. So it gives you, you can adjust all your lighting and stuff and know kind of how it's supposed to look once it's done.
Oh, cool.
So we've, yeah, I'll just tick that. Yeah, we want to apply it to everything. And that should be it. So now, when we click on the bakery menu, you'll see we've got a new thing which has never been here before when we've been using bakery. Right at the bottom, saying preview. Oh, didn't want to do that. Just move that. Oh, come on. We'll move that over here because we're going to use that at some point. If we click on Open Preview, it'll go through the whole check of your graphics card to make sure it's set up correctly. It just detects the best settings for your card. Has to be an NVIDIA card. It won't work with anything else. So please don't waste your money on bakery unless you actually have an NVIDIA card. I don't have RTX cores, so I'm just going to click no. If you have it, click yes, definitely, because it will speed things up even more. But bakery is a fast light mapper anyway, compared to Unity's built-in, and definitely worth having. So then if we click on Open Preview, it tells me we need to mark something as static before we can do it. So we're just going to get a black screen. I'll just close that for now. And just to demonstrate, we'll bring in a cube because that's what we always do. It's always a cube. And we'll give it a material because
Directional
why
light.
not? Yeah, we'll give it a material first. So I'm going to just create an amplify surface shader, probably the simplest one you can make. So I'm just going to call it color. And as I always do, I always put Lisa / at the beginning, so it actually gets its own menu and is easy to find. If you've never used Amplify before, it's a node-based shader editor and ever so easy to pick up. And if you're ever stuck and don't know what any node does, it takes you straight to the wiki page for that node with an example of how to use it as well. So it's it's brilliant for that. You can either right-click and do a search for what you're after, and most things you could, for instance, let's say constants and properties, next to each the most used nodes, there'll be shortcuts. So a float would, you just hold down button 1 and click. Color, hold down button 5. You can either click that and you've got your color node, or you can hold down button 5 and click and you've got one. Hold down T and click, you've got a texture sample node. Hold down 1 and click, you've got a float, etc. 2 and click, you've got a vector 2. So just if you learn the hotkeys, it will really speed things up for you. So we've got color. I'm just going to plug it into the albedo and compile. Oh, and what I forgot to do was make it a property. In fact, I'll show you, if you've never used Amplify before, the difference between constants and properties. So we've got the shader compiled. We can create a material out of that by just right-clicking on the shader. I'll just leave it at that, Lisa Color. Or you can go up to the inspector and you can pull the menu down and you can choose any shader you like. And because I put Lisa / at the beginning of the name, it's under here. It's got its own menu called Lisa Color, and it's ticked because that's the one that's actually selected at the moment. So if I click on that, you'll see there's no color. I can't change anything. And that's because we haven't made this a property. We need to make the color a property so that it exposes it in the material and you can adjust the actual values. And I'm just going to get rid of that 0. In fact, I'm going to correct the spelling because I'm English, so sorry and all that, but it's colour with a U. When you're with me, it's always with a U. So we'll compile it again. If it's got a yellow button, it means it's not compiled. If it's green, you're good to go. Everything's fine. So if we click on the material again, you can now see we've got a colour. I can drag that onto the box and adjust the colour in real time so you can see. Well, it should be anyway. Why is it not saving? Oh, there we go. There we go. I just had it down to black. I needed to turn it all the way up. Choose a colour, anything you like. I'm just going to pick that. And then on the directional light, if we're going to use a directional light, because we're using bakery, I'll just set that to baked so it doesn't give me any extra effects I don't want to see. And because we're using bakery, we need to add a bakery script, and there's several to select from. The most common ones that I use are the direct light, which is always for the directional light, the point light, which you also use for spotlights as well, and I'll demonstrate that in a little bit, and the light mesh. Light mesh is really good for area lights and for emissive lights. So you would apply the light mesh to your mesh that's got the emission on it. Separate the material, the mesh out, the bit that's emissive, and give it a light mesh script. So I'm going to add a direct light because that's what it's on. We'll fix that so that it's linear. Because it thought it was set to gamma, I'm just going to double check the project settings and make sure under player this needs to be set to linear always. If you have it set to gamma, your lighting will be completely off and all your materials will look really white and washed out and kind of bleached out and just look horrible. Make sure auto generate's not on. No, it's not. So once we've got that changed to linear, we can just click on match light map to real time, and it'll copy the settings here and adjust the script so you get the same result. And if we click on open preview, you need to mark some objects as static. Yes, we do. So
you didn't need to do anything with the skybox first?
No. Why do I need to do anything with the skybox? Well, it's already got a default skybox in there. At least it would be. Yeah, right. There we go. It's got a default skybox set up anyway.
What kind of skybox is that?
It's just this basic one.
What kind it is?
Well, it's just a basic HDR
HDRs and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is an HDR skybox.
I think you have to have HDR.
Yeah.
Because I've tried to do it with panoramic photos. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Like Bakery just won't work for me.
Yeah. No, you need a proper skybox, an HDR skybox, really. Yep. And you can get them. There's loads of free ones. If you have a look on, good place to go is 3dassets.1. And this will, let's just close that for now. This will look for any kind of materials or skyboxes or anything you're after. If we just type in skybox, see what comes up. Not a lot there. Maybe HDRI. Yeah, there's a load there. And another, even though it's got loads of different websites that it trolls looking for them, Polyhaven is a good one to go to. It's not showing me anything there, of course. It would normally, but if we go to Polyhaven, .com. Go to assets, and if you look for HDRIs, you've got loads to choose from that you literally just can download and bring them into Unity and just replace that skybox with whatever you want. So you know what? Let's just download one if I haven't already. We don't want 4K, at least I don't, because it's just going to take too long. 2K will do. And I'm just going to open up Unity, drag that in. There's our HDRI lighten skybox. I'll just drag that into there. Oh, it's not going to let me because I need a material, don't I? Create material, which I'm going to call skybox. Under the shader, you need to tell it it's a skybox, and you need to tell it that it's panoramic, I believe.
Was that a cube map? I think it's a cube map.
Is it? I didn't take any notice, to be honest, on the website because I'm just rushing. Let's give it a try. Skybox.
I thought HDRIs have to be cube map. I thought that was like a default.
No, they don't. They don't. There's lots of different kinds. No, it's definitely not a cube map. I'm pretty sure it was a panoramic. You can get 6-sided ones, which gives you 6 images, and it's just like the 6 sides of a cube, and you have to tell it which one's up, which one's down, which one's left, which one's right, etc. And as long as they all fit together, they work perfectly. So yeah, there's lots of different kinds. Now
so
that
you can have a panoramic HDRI. That's news to me. Okay.
You can, yes. So if we drag that into there,
that's good now.
And there is the skybox, and that's a panoramic one. And we got our sunshine in there. So we'll open preview again. Oh, I haven't marked it as static. No, I haven't, because I'm an idiot. We'll just contribute to global illumination. And then that should be all we need. We don't need to mark it as static as long as it's I mean, it is marked as static, but the only one we need is the contribute to GI. Yeah.
It's static.
Yeah. So let's try playing around with some light, shall we? We'll add in a point light, and I'll just reset that to the middle, and we'll drag it out a little bit, and you'll see it's working here, but it's not working here because And I'll just mark that as baked again. We haven't added a point light script. Now we have, and you can see it updating. And if we move it, you can see it updates in the actual preview as well. Oh,
Cool.
that wasn't meant to happen. Stretch me box. That sounded really bad,
weird.
didn't it? Pretend I didn't say that. I'll edit it out. Okay, so you can also, if you adjust the actual Unity light, like if we were to increase the intensity, for instance, you can see it increasing here, or decrease it, but nothing happens here because this isn't updating. We have to click either match light map to real time, and now it's the same, or you can adjust the actual script and you can see it happening in the preview. But then if you wanted it to match here, you've got to click match real time to light mapped. So now it's the same settings. Won't always look identical. This is Unity's real-time lighting, and it always looks different. This is how it's going to look when it's baked. So this is the one really that you need to have a play with and you know, adjust stuff to get a true representation. Prior to using this, I was always just guessing in you know, in Unity's viewer, and then having to keep baking it constantly to check that it was okay. This is going to be a huge time saver, and I'm pleased I got this while it was cheap. You can tell I've just bought it and I'm playing with it, so I thought I'd share it with you. Point light, as I said before, the script that you put on the light doesn't have to be, even though you use a point light script, it will use this for spotlights as well. So if we were to swap this around, just get it pointing at the box and drag it back a little bit. So we've got a spotlight going. If we do, currently it says on the projection mask it's omnidirectional. The light's going out from one point in all directions, like a point light should be. But if you click on match light mapped to real time, it changes it to a cookie and gives it a spot texture. And now we can adjust the angle, which you can't see in here because
I'm one just for spotlight. They just want to keep one for point light. That's it, huh? They don't have a spotlight script.
No, well, there's no need to. You know, if they can use one script and just apply a cookie to it, what's the point of having a separate script for it? You know, because everything else is the same.
What does cookie mean? That doesn't. It's just,
a cookie is basically an image. Usually, it's a grayscale image that you, if you can imagine, like a, I don't know what you call them, like a bokeh maybe. No, I don't. Is it a gobo I'm thinking of? It might be. If you think of like when you're at the theatre and they put these things over the spotlights to give like the illusion of stars or cut out shapes or something from the spotlight. It's like a shape that's cut out. Yeah, that's basically what a cookie is. It's a texture that they're applying to the light. And you could choose anything you wanted. You can replace this if you want to any grayscale thing. You can see that's the actual cookie that they've used. And it's got soft edges so you don't get a hard circle. But anything that's kind of grayscale, you can, yeah. I mean, if we were to use cut out map 14, look at that. I've literally applied that and we've got a fancy effect going on. And yeah, you absolutely can create your own. You can paint your own. You can do anything you like. As long as it's kind of grayscale, just have a play. You can have so much fun with them. That one's quite a cool one as well. But as I say, I mean, it's not like you're texturing the object. You're actually baking it into the light map.
Though in the scene view, but you don't see it in the scene view.
Well, you should do. If I do match real time to light map, no, you're not actually. You're right, you're not. But you will see it in bakery. Because
Right.
the light in Unity has a separate section for cookies, and you'd actually have to plug it into here. Let's have a look and see. I've never used cookies in Unity because I never could get them to work properly.
Well,
But
you
if I
haven't
choose
rendered
that,
it either. If you rendered it, it would
exactly,
apply it, right?
exactly. It doesn't do
Yeah.
it in real time
So,
by the looks of things. So
no.
we'll just get rid of that. Bakery's a lot easier. So yeah, we'll just put that back to the cookie it was, if I can find it. Wasn't that? Oh, have I lost it? There it is. There we go, FT Unity spot texture. Okay, and then we can adjust the angle, etc. to whatever we want. Match real time to make it the same. So yeah, that's the essence of the bakery preview. We could, what other lights can we use? Spotlight, area light. I'm not a big fan of area lights. I do use them occasionally if I just want something light and softly. But I much prefer using.
Lisa, do you ever use the lights that's actually in the bakery tab itself, or do you always use the Unity ones? I always use the ones that's just in the bakery tab. Is there a difference?
Not really. I mean, the bakery ones are,
right.
Made specially for bakery. But because we've added a script, it's going to be adjusting everything anyway. Where I tend to use the bakery lights is if I'm doing a mission. So let's just change this material. Yes. We'll plug that into emission there. And we'll make sure that this is an HDR colour, the way emission should be. And we'll compile that. So now it's emissive. We need something for it to reflect off, really, don't we? So let's just add in a plane and we'll bring it down a bit. And we'll make the plane, just use the same colour shader. We'll create new material for it. I'll just call it plane. Drag that onto there. Actually, you know what? We don't, because I don't want the plane to be emissive. It needs to reflect the colour, doesn't it? So we'll get rid of that for now. I'm just going to change that back to the default material because I don't like the pink. Create an amplify shader, surface. Because that's still called colour, I'm going to call this not emission. Because, why not? Stick in a colour again. Make it a property. Compile. Material. That'll do. Drag that on there. And we'll make it a kind of a dull reddish colour, I think, just because, why not? See what happens. So this is where, if you had something that has emission and you separate it out in Blender, so your emissive bit is its own mesh, you can then apply a light mesh script. And I don't advise matching material to light because it's going to change this colour. Oh, you could do actually. No, let's do it. We're going to change the colour to the yellowy colour that I had before. And when it says match material to light, boom. Now what we've got is up here, it's still got Lisa colour, but it's given it exactly the same colour as the light mesh. I wonder if it's going to show you. Come on. I wonder why that's not working. Why is that not working now? I don't know. Let's mark this as contribute to global illumination. This is already marked. Let's try clicking rendering scene view and HDR. I just want to move the damn thing. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So instead of having a separate box now, I've told it to do the ray tracing, the real-time preview in the actual scene. So here, because we've given this a light mesh, you can see that it is actually doing some, it's casting some yellow light on the floor within the shadow here. Normally, I would say probably shouldn't be casting shadows because it's casting light. It's purely personal preference. So under cast shadows, I would turn that off. Doesn't seem to make much difference there. We save shadows. Cast shadows. Let's try rendering it and we'll see what happens. Goodness gracious me. Doesn't normally take this long, does it?
It's not that complicated either.
It's probably the skybox that we've added that's doing it. Because it's having to work out where all the light's coming from. With it being an HDRI, you're going to get light coming from the sun and from anything that's reflective in the scene. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that, what I was going to do, because I don't know if you've noticed, I called this modular space. I was going to go over how easy it is to build stuff out of modules. I know I've covered it before, but I can't recommend it enough. It's so good for if you're not entirely sure how big your room needs to be, or you need to adjust it on the fly. You can make your basic assets in Blender and then build your world using those assets. So I might want to, for instance, just bring in a plane, which let's just say that's going to be our floor. I would leave it at the 2 meter by 2 meter size. It seems a reasonable size to me. I would probably, I'm in Polyhaven anyway, so let's go to textures and we'll look for, let's see, wood brick floor. Let's have a look, see what they've got under floor. That looks quite interesting. Anti-slip concrete. No. Wood. Have they got a carpet? No, that's grass. Let's try searching for carpet. See what we can find. Of course, there's nothing. Oh, one result it says. That'll do. We'll have that. Dirty carpet. So I'll download that. No, that's not what I wanted. There we go. And we'll open up Unity. Just drag in dirty carpet.
What is it, a zip file?
It is a zip file. So all I'm going to do is do show in Explorer, unzip it. And then I can just delete that. So when we go back here, zip file vanishes and now we've got a folder called dirty carpet. So it looks like I've already asked it to download it as a channel pack texture. So I might as well create a Amplify Shader Editor. And I'll explain this in a moment as well. I'm just going to call it ARM because that's what I always call it. And we'll stick in Lisa. We'll compile it for now. So anybody who's used shaders or created PBR textures of any kind, you'll be aware that whenever you create a new material, you have the option normally of plugging in several textures. Usually the actual image itself that has all the colour. There's usually a metallic. There's usually a smoothness or roughness. If I change this to Autodesk Interactive, it'll look a bit more clear because it'll be more like, wow, what's happened there? Let's not do that then, because that's being weird. Oh goodness, I think it's probably because it's baking and it's not playing well. So we'll do it in Blender instead. Under shading, it's the same kind of thing. You've got places where you can plug in textures. So it's usually your color, it's usually the metallic, it's usually roughness or smoothness. Blender happens to use roughness, Unity uses smoothness. And sometimes it's also ambient occlusion as well. And so what I usually choose when I download textures is I choose a channel packed one. So instead of using 3 textures, which is just taking up resources in your, calculation, like resources in your headset, I pack them, because they're all grayscale maps, you can pack them separately into the red, green and blue channels of one texture. And use that for everything. So you only need 2. You need your colour and then you need your channel packed one. If you're going to use a normal map, you will need that 3rd texture as well. But please bear in mind that normal maps don't usually work very well with baked lighting, and quite often you can get away without them. But you can use them. They're absolutely a good way of getting kind of depth and texture to a surface, if that's what you want to do. So is this still working? You know what, I'm thinking of cancelling this because it's doing me heat in. It's still preparing. Shall we just cancel it? That's ridiculous. Shouldn't be like that.
Was the preview correct?
I have no idea. The preview, I think, was correct. I'm sure it's the skybox that was causing the issues. So I'm just going to change this back to default skybox. We'll go. Let's just give that one more go while it's doing its stuff. Let it do its stuff rather, and we'll carry on.
Settings, your defaults and all that. Any problem with the defaults?
No, the defaults are usually ideal to get started. You can see it's working now. None of this preparing stuff. It's just doing its thing. So yeah, it was the skybox. And as I say, we've got some emissive light here. It does look very much like the preview, except of course it's a little bit jaggedy because we've got it set to 20 texels per unit. It's a 1 meter box. Yeah, it's going to look a little bit jagged. You can increase that if you want it to be a bit smoother. Just bear in mind the size of your light map will be bigger and it will take up more resources.
What would you recommend for that?
I nearly always go with 20 anyway. And if there are certain objects that I really feel need to have a bit more definition, and I don't mind them being a bit more, yeah, if I don't mind that part of the light map being a bit bigger, I would just increase it here where it says scale and light map. I'd maybe increase it to 2 and try baking again and see what that's like. And it'll take a little bit longer, but it's just the fact that the plane is so big that it's looking jagged on there. You should see an improvement by increasing the scale there. That's a lot better. So rather than increasing the the texels per unit, which is going to affect absolutely everything in your scene. I try and keep it as low as possible for everything and only increase the stuff that really needs it using the scale section in the light map. And the only...
Never knew that was there.
Yeah,
Cool.
the only time you should see any real problems with it is if, for instance, you've got... A good example would be you've got a wooden floor with a rug and you've got a hat stand, say, and the hat stand's casting a long shadow over both the rug and the wooden floor. The wooden floor would be so big that it might look jagged. If you increase the scale, you might notice that it's a lot sharper on the floor than it is on the rug, and they don't really match. Most people wouldn't even notice that, but if it bothers you, then you would probably need to increase the scale in the rug as well. That's the only thing. As I say, 99% of the time, people don't care. They don't care about a little bit of light bleeding or, you know, a little bit of difference. They're not going to nitpick. It's not that important. As long as the place looks cool and you make a performance, that's the important thing. I think it's really just personal preference more than anything, whether or not you change it. But there's absolutely no need, unless it's an outdoor scene. If it's an outdoor scene, you want it cranked up. Bakery recommends 100 to 120, but obviously for VR, I wouldn't recommend that because that is going to be massive, especially if you've got a big scene. Just keep it as low as you possibly can. So, as I say, we've got dirty carpet here. I've forgotten what I was doing with this now. What was I doing? Oh yes, we made a shader to plug in the light map thing. So we've got two textures basically. Hold down T and just click twice and you've got them. The first one is going to be plugged into the color. So we're just going to call this, it's already a proper T, not a constant. So we'll just call it albedo. And this one, we're going to call it packed because it's a channel packed image. And it's called ARM because we know that red, green and blue is ambient occlusion, roughness and metallic, ARM. So I'm going to plug them in respectively. So R for ambient occlusion, G for roughness, but Unity uses smoothness. So we need to add a 1- to convert it. It inverts the image from rough to smooth. 1- to smoothness. We'll just stick that up there. And then blue for metallic. And that should be it. And then all we need to do is tell it that this is a grayscale texture. Actually, I'm just going to leave it for now because I can't be bothered. We'll see what it looks like without telling it. The new material, we are going to choose Lisa Arm. And then we'll plug in the albedo and the packed, and we'll drag that onto the floor, and we've got a dirty carpet. Way too big, so all we need to do is, actually we don't even need to do that. We can just adjust the scale here, to be honest. It does mean you've got lots of places to adjust it, but there are ways of just adding a float so you have one little slider or figure to adjust, but we'll not go into that just yet this week. We've got a carpet. So in Blender, look at that. We've got 10 minutes left and I haven't even gotten to the modular stuff. So we'll continue with this next week. But in Blender, we can do exactly the same thing. We'll just find the, goodness gracious me, show in Explorer, that's what I wanted. Go to Blender, drag your images in and the packed texture as well. Plug that into the base color. And then this one, we don't have a red, green and blue channel because we need to separate the colors. So we just choose separate color. Nice and easy. And now we've got red, green, blue. Blender uses roughness, so we're not going to invert the image for this one because it's roughness to roughness. So we'll go red, goes into ambient occlusion. That needs something different. Roughness into roughness, blue into metallic. And with Blender, there isn't an ambient occlusion socket to plug into. We just need to multiply it by the albedo. So the easiest way that I do it, because I use Node Wrangler, is to duplicate this, hold down Control and Shift if you've got Node Wrangler installed, and then right click and drag, and it'll automatically mix them together. You just need to tell it they're going to be multiplied. And then where the second image is in, I can just plug in ambient occlusion and just delete that. And that's it set up. Exactly the same as we did in Amplify, except it's using Blender's shader. So that is our carpet. If we go to cycles, maybe, GPU. Yeah, it's a bit too shiny, isn't it? Doesn't look that fantastic, but yeah. Anyway, it was just an example. So we've got the carpet set up. It's probably just not a great example of a carpet texture, to be honest. Once we've got that set up, the easiest thing in the world is just to export it. Go File, Export, FBX, and Selected Objects. Give it a name. I'm just going to call it Floor. Put it where I've got it saved. What did I call it? Modular something or other. Modular space. And when we go back here, here is our floor. We can plug in, if I just lock that so it doesn't disappear. We'll go to our carpet material, plug that in, and that's our asset set up. So now I could get rid of this and I could bring in floor. And all we need to do is duplicate it. And if we hold down the V key on the keyboard, V for victory, if it's going to work, come on. There we go. You'll see you've got a little box. You can drag that. We're just going to, come on. Sorry about this. I'm being so obtuse today. You can tell I've had a rough day at work. Hold down V and it'll just snap it. V for vertex. It'll snap it to the nearest vertex. And you can actually build up a floor just by doing that. And you can actually build up walls doing the same thing. Literally V, snap. Duplicate it. V, and snap it. And already we've got a bit of a floor being built. You could select two of them, duplicate, drag them across, V, and snap it. We could select all of these, duplicate, drag them across, V to snap. And basically that's it. Obviously you want to add your collider to the first object before you actually start duplicating it. If I was doing a wall, I would do something exactly the same, except I'd probably add a cube maybe. I'll just bring it up. Cubes are always 2 by 2. So we'll just adjust the scale, hold S, and we're going to adjust it on the Y axis. Bring that down a bit, and that'll do for me wall. We'll apply the scale, so Control and A, apply the scale. And then this is where we would need to unwrap it to add a texture. Probably need to download something again. Just close that and search. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's try that again. Polyhaven.com. Assets, textures, Maybe search for wallpaper. Gosh, is that all they've got for wallpaper? Well, we've got a dirty carpet and some decrepit wallpaper. Why not? So you can download that. Do exactly the same thing again. I always just drag it straight in here because I just find it easiest. I know exactly where everything is, and then I can unpack it and delete the original. And now we've got the same thing. All I'm going to do is use the same shader that I've used here, but I'm going to use it on the decrepit wallpaper. So create a material, wallpaper. We'll unlock that and we'll choose Lisa arm, and then I can plug in both of those. In Blender, we need to make sure that this is UV editing, make sure that it's unwrapped correctly. So the best thing is probably just to do U for unwrap, or you can click on UV up here, unwrap, cube projection, and then here we need to separate the islands so they're not overlapping. So choose pack islands and give it a bit of padding so that your light map doesn't cause any bleed. But I'll give it a bit more, why not? So that's it unwrapped. Layout, file, export, FBX, and we'll call this one wall. Is it in the right place? Yes, it is. Export. Wall. We'll give it the decrepit texture. Put it where we want it.
8 p.m.
Ooh, 8 p.m. There it is, lined up with the corner. I did that again, just using the V key. And then the same thing again. Absolutely the same. Just drag it along. Oh. And we've already started creating a wall, 2 meters high. Obviously, you would just adjust your wall whichever way you wanted. But that's basically it. We've got, it's a nice way of doing things. And it means you can literally, once you've created, all I've created is 2 very simple assets. And already I can create rooms and corridors and, you know, big open spaces and anything I wanted really. And create a few assets so that you can mix and match them together and you can get some really quite impressive things made. What I'll do, I think next week, because the Christmas village that I did last year was entirely, all of those buildings were done in a modular way. So I'll go into a bit more detail for that and show you the Christmas village and how it's actually put together and all the different pieces that makes it up. And it may hopefully explain a little bit better how to do it basically. And like I say, I can't recommend it enough. It's a brilliant way of building worlds on the fly in Unity. So we'll do that next week. I'm well aware that it's after 8 p.m. now, so I should probably stop. Otherwise, I could sit here for another hour and I need to go and eat because I've had nothing to eat and drink since I got in from work. So, yeah, thank you for coming along. I hope some of that has been a little bit useful. Please, 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 while you've got the opportunity, and if you've got the means to do so, go and grab Amplify and Bakery while you can, if it's something that's on your shopping list. Oh, who's echoing? It's really loud. Hello, Marcel. Yeah?
this will be recorded, right?
It is recorded, yes. I'm just about to stop the recording now.
Okay, so I can play back it all the time because...
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, great.
If you have a look on the board at the back of the classroom, that is my channel, my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see it there. It'll be uploaded very soon.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to know I did cancel class for tomorrow morning because I've got a lot of stuff I need